Hey guys, in this video I'm going to be taking you through a practice focusing on opening up the hips and the heart with some gentle movement and breath. I really hope you enjoy this practice. There's something here for whatever level you are, whatever mood you're in today, so give it a try and have a wonderful practice. So let's start in seated today. I'm just going to take a couple of moments to arrive into your space, arrive onto the mat. And just find a comfortable seat. So maybe you raise the hips sitting on a block or a cushion, a bolster, or perhaps you just come to seated with your sit bones against the earth. And just notice if you have a tendency to lean forwards, to lean back, to one side, to the other, and see if you can center yourself with a long spine, gently lifting and lengthening the navel, and letting the sit bones root to the earth. Taking a moment just to close the eyes gently and allow the sight to drop inwards, so that you start to channel your awareness towards yourself. We spend so much time seeking outwards, using our senses to cultivate an awareness of all that is around us all the time. See if just for these moments together on the mat today, you can take a little bit of that and draw it inwards instead. And no matter what it is that you have experienced before your practice or you have waiting for you after your practice, know that right now all that is required of you is to be here. To find a sense of calm, a sense of stillness through this breath and this movement, through this creation or cultivation of awareness of the self. This time that you've carved out of your day to be here on the mat, and all that you need to do is be here as fully as you can in every moment and in every breath. And start to find your breath now in this continuous flow of energy that moves in and out of this body. This body that is this three-dimensional form that we identify with as ourselves. So let this cycle of energy, this continuous energy, flow in and out of your body. And observe if there is a pause, or if you're holding the breath at any point. Maybe the breathing in your chest, and perhaps now you're able to start to direct the breath a little bit deeper. Maybe one hand comes onto the chest and one hand comes down towards the navel, and you feel the breath drawing down to the second hand. Start to just manipulate the breath slightly, softly, without force. And throughout the practice, we'll breathe through the nose. So let's take one last breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. Take a breath in. And a sigh to let it go. And if that felt good, you can take a few more before gently closing the lips and channeling the breath in and out of the nose. And you're going to take your hands behind your back. Interlacing the fingers, start to open up the chest and send the shoulder blades down the back of the rib cage. So maybe the fist reaches the floor and perhaps you can slide it back a little away from the hips. Without flaring the rib cage, can you lengthen the spine but keep the lower ribs drawn in? And you're breathing space into the front and back of the body simultaneously. Take another inhale. And exhale, soften, place the hands onto the knees, draw your belly button in in towards the spine as you round backwards. Take an inhale, roll your shoulders up to your ears, lengthen the spine. And exhale, let the shoulders drop down. Maybe you blinked your eyes open already. Perhaps now you slowly start to let the light in. So take yourself to face the long edge of the mat if you haven't already. Take another breath as you take arms over your head. Keep rooting down through your left sit bone and lean your body over to the right. And use each breath to create a little bit more space in the body. And then an inhale comes back to center, swapping to the other side as you exhale. Rooting down through the right sit bone as you lean the body over to the left. And draw your lower navel in. Take an inhale, come back to center. And exhale, drop your hands down onto the mat. This time both sit bones connect to the earth, making little teepees with the hands. Start to activate the shoulders. Let the back of the neck lengthen as you gaze to the tip of your nose. Keep rooting both sit bones to the earth. Take a nice deep breath. Feel the back of the body expand. And as you exhale, bring your forearms to the floor and roll over your knees, uncrossing the legs. Bring your big toes to touch as you push your hips to your heels. Take a child's pose. Walking your hands forward and letting the chest soften down, feeling the space opening up between the hips. And if it's too much for you to send your hips to your heels, you can place a block underneath your seat to make it a little bit less of a strain. You don't want to be pushing too hard. Just find a little bit of softness wherever you are. And then perhaps we make this a little bit more active by tucking the toes and coming up onto the fingertips. Still maintaining that length in the spine. And then take an inhale, come forwards, place your hands to the earth. Take your feet and your knees hip width apart and let the wrists come underneath the shoulders. Take a moment just to rock the weight forwards and backwards with the breath. So you start to warm up the wrists a little, taking a little bit more of your weight into the hands. And the toes can be tucked if that feels good. Maybe that helps you to get a little bit of stretch through the feet. And then let's turn the fingers to the sides. Keep shoulders over the wrists. If any of this gets uncomfortable, then just make sure that you're working to the space that you have in your body today. If anything doesn't feel good, then back out. There's no need to push in any direction at any point. And then maybe you turn the backs of the hands to the floor. This one I find super uncomfortable, so I keep my elbows nice and soft as I bring my weight forward. And just again, having a little bit of rock from side to side. And if you need to shuffle around, make sure you shuffle with the hands rather than the knees, because you don't want to put too much weight through the wrists at this point. Maybe a little rounding of the back, strong through the core. And then place the hands back down to the earth. So finding a tabletop position. Take an inhale, reach your right arm up, open up your chest. And exhale, slide the hand underneath, thread the needle, extend the back of the hand to the earth and bring the outer shoulder to the ground. So you can stay here or you can extend the left foot back. I quite like to take the left foot out to the side and try and catch hold of my big toe. But it changes it slightly, so just be where feels good for you. And then bring yourself up, using an inhale. Take a cat-cow of the spine, lengthening the chest forward and the sit bones back. And as you exhale, rounding through, taking the gaze to the navel. Push the ground away, inhale. And exhale. One more time, inhale. Making the movement last the whole of the length of the breath. And then come back to a neutral spine. Moving on to the left side, making sure you're not pushing down too much through the left hand, the right hand, by engaging all the way up the arm. Take an inhale, open up the chest, try to keep your hips square. And exhale, gently threading underneath the right arm. So the right hand can stay by the face, or you can wrap it all the way around behind you. Opening the chest. Maybe you send the right leg back. Or maybe you take the foot out towards the hand if that feels good. And then coming out gently, pushing into the ground to release. This time let's push all the way back to a child's pose. Take a nice deep breath in through the nose. Maybe let out a sigh through the mouth. Take an inhale, journey forwards into hands and knees. And exhale, tuck your toes and start to make your way into a downward facing dog. And as you arrive in your downward facing dog, maybe you bend one knee then the other, pedaling out the legs if that feels good, particularly if the calves are tight. Try to keep your knees soft as you wrap the outer armpits towards each other and push through your fingertips as much as the palms so the weight's not rocking back into the heels of the hands. Lengthening your fingertips away from the wrists. Take an inhale, gently forwards, find a high plank. Exhale, lower the knees to the floor, elbows bend as the chest lowers between your thumbs. Untuck your toes, tops of the feet to the earth. Take an inhale, lengthen your spine. And exhale, lower the chest to the ground. Tuck your toes, send your hips to your heels. Downward facing dog. And then we'll take an inhale and reach the right leg to the sky. As you exhale, bend your knee, curling in, squeezing your core. Now hold it strong, shoulders above the wrist, and scoop the belly to step the foot between your palms. If it didn't make it all the way, you can use your hand for support. Now look forwards, take an inhale, step your left foot to the top of the mat. And exhale to pull your body back down over your toes. Heel toe the feet hip width apart, catch hold of your big toes with your two peace fingers, and lengthen your spine as you send your weight into the front of your feet. Exhale, bending at the elbows, lifting up through your sit bones. See if you can grow the spine a little bit longer. And the knees can be soft. You don't need to lock out the knees to be doing yoga. Just let yourself ease into the movement here. Use your breath. Come up onto your fingertips, inhale halfway. Exhale, plant your palms and step back to a high plank. This time you can lower your knees and chest, or through chaturanga, high to low plank. Use your inhale to come to low cobra pose like before, or lift the knees upward facing dog. And exhale, pull back, downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg rises to the sky. Exhale, squeeze it in towards the core. Keep it lifted in towards the chest as you step the foot between the palms. Look forward as you shift the weight to your left foot and step to the top of the mat. Heel toe the feet hip width apart. This time, same again, or slide the hands underneath your feet until your big toes touch the creases at the wrist. Soft elbows, and as if you're massaging your hands or your wrists with your toes, you shift the weight forwards and lift your seat. Let the back of the neck be heavy, let the spine be long. Drawing in through the navel, lifting out of the waist. And take an inhale, look up halfway. And exhale, fold the body back down over the toes. Heel toeing the big toes to touch, bend your knees, Utkatasana. So chair pose, lift your chest, lengthening your navel. Exhale, fold forwards, palms to the earth. Look up halfway on an inhale, exhale, step back, lower through a vinyasa, knees and chest or high to low plank. Inhale, lengthening forward, squeeze the glutes, lengthen the spine, and exhale back, downward facing dog. Inhale, raise your right leg to the sky. Exhale, steps the foot between the palms, warrior one. Root the back heel to the earth, push through the feet as you square the hips and rise up. The right knee stacks over the right ankle. Push through the outside of the back foot and draw your navel in. Take an inhale, lift up out of the waist. And exhale, warrior two. Maybe lengthening your step. And see if you can find a little bit more space in this right hip. By rooting down through the feet, softening down and opening up this right thigh using the support of the glutes. Lengthen from fingertip to fingertip and soften the shoulders away from the ears. And find your breath. And then right forearm comes to the thigh. Sweep your left fingertips in line with your gaze. So the upper arm comes over the ear and you root through the left foot, feeling the stretch all the way through the left side of the body. Making sure there's not too much weight on this right arm. If you prefer, you can take it to the floor, but keep the chest open. Maybe you take it into a bind, reaching the hand underneath, reaching the right shoulder even underneath the right thigh. Peel the chest open. Use your breath. And as you exhale, release the hands to the floor. Pivot both hips forward. Option to keep the back knee lifted or drop it to the earth. We're working into this right hip. So maybe you're shifting forward and back. You're still using your core and supporting through the left leg. Perhaps your forearms come to the floor if you want to take it a little bit further. And then drop your back knee to the earth if you haven't already. Take your right hand to the outside of the right foot and maybe draw the right foot into center a little bit more. Top of the back foot comes to the earth as you reach your arms over your head. And then sending your hips forward, 2 hips in one line and your tailbone lengthening down. Maybe interlace the fingers and reach the first finger to the sky, Kali Mudra. Lengthening through the navel. Take another breath in. And as you exhale, frame the foot at the top of the mat. Tuck your back toes, push through the heel and send your right foot to the back of the mat, high plank. Holding your high plank, hips in line with the shoulders, in line with the heels. Take a breath in and choose either to lower through a vinyasa or drop to the knees, send your hips to your heels and find a child's pose. Wherever you are, take a nice breath in through the nose. And either soften out through the nose or let out a sigh. And then coming forwards. If you're in child's pose, or just taking another breath in your down dog if you took the vinyasa. Meet in downward facing dog. Then the left leg rises as you inhale. Exhale, draw your knee to your nose and step the foot between the palms. Warrior one. Grounding the back foot. Square the hips, square the shoulders. And use your breath. Refine the tiny little movements in the body. Drawing lower ribs in. Take an inhale breath. And exhale, open up to a warrior two. Lengthening the step, the step, if you need to. Keep the knees stacked above the ankle and really rooting through the outside of the back foot. So rather than pushing into my back knee, I'm really lifting all the way up the back leg. Lengthening from fingertip to fingertip. And then left forearm to the thigh. As I reach my right arm over, I open up my chest. Lengthening in every single inhale, deepening in the exhale. Keep lifting up through the lower body. Good, gazing up to your top hand. Take a breath in. And exhale, place both hands to the earth. Pivot onto the ball of the back foot. Option to drop the knee or drop to the elbows. And just working into your left hip. And use your breath. Then take the left hand to the outside of the left foot. Drop the back knee, untuck the toes if you haven't already, and take the arms over your head. Sending tailbone down, lifting through your chest. Lengthening through the side body. Finding a lift through. Finding a lift through the waist. Take a breath in, and as you exhale, frame the foot. Tuck your back toes, this time step to a high plank, then lower your forearms to the floor. Center the hips. And rather than sticking your bottom up or letting them drop down, see if you can really pull in as you tuck the tailbone, push the ground away. Then lower your knees to the floor. Send your hips to your heels and walk your hands all the way back to your feet. Child's pose. Taking your next inhale as you rise up to sit on your heels. Placing both hands onto the thighs. And just center yourself here with your breath. Interlacing the hands behind your back. Draw the shoulders down away from the ears as you lift the chest and open the space through the front of the body. Engaging through the core. And then let your chin drop, rounding your shoulders. Take your hands to your knees and pull your belly button to spine. Inhale this time, just pushing on your knees as you lift your chest forward. Send your seat back. And exhale, rounding through the spine. And inhale, come up to a neutral spine. Push through the shins and tuck your toes. You're going to take your hands onto the lower back for support. So as we move into a camel pose, you can choose just to stay here. The toes can either be tucked or flat to the floor. And you don't have to take it any deeper than feels good. The most important thing is that you're lengthening out of the spine. Or lengthening the spine, lifting out of the waist. So if crunching into the lower back helps you go deeper, it's not worth going deeper. So take your hands onto your back. Lift up through the chest and draw your elbows back. So we have that big opening through the front of the body. And maybe this is enough for you here. Engage the glutes, pushing, lengthening through the front of the body. Maybe you come a little bit further back. And then come back to center. Maybe drop your hips to your heels and pause. I'm going to take 2 more rounds. Take an inhale. Time perhaps you just go to the same place. Make sure your knees are underneath your hips. As you start to lengthen your hip flexors, perhaps you come all the way back. If you're coming back to take hold of the heels, make sure your 2 hands come back simultaneously. If it feels good, you can drop the head back But again, I'm lengthening forwards, lifting out of my waist so I'm not crunching into my back. And as I come out, rather than twisting to one side, I come up straight. Taking one more round. If you've had enough, you can come to a child's pose. Lengthening as you draw yourself back to your pose, your version of the pose. Opening through the chest, through the hip flexors, lengthening the spine. And then slowly making your way out. Neutralize for a moment, sitting on the heels. And then come down into a child's pose. Walk your hands up towards your knees. Take the feet from underneath you and come to sit on the mat. Shuffle yourself a little bit further forwards and bring the soles of your feet together. Let the knees drop out to the sides and take teepee hands behind your back. Rather than rolling the shoulder heads down, see if you can lift your chest and push against the hands to open through the chest, through the hips. And then pull your belly button to your spine. So you take hold of your ankles, rounding the upper back. Find a nice stretch there. Maybe dropping the chin down to the chest. And then as you inhale, come forwards onto your sit bones. Lengthen your spine, lift up out of the waist. Peeling the feet open with the thumbs as you fold your body forwards. Keep the spine long, the chest lifted and lengthened away from the waist. You're not rounding through and collapsing just yet. Take another breath in. And then you choose, you can stay as you are, or turn the backs of the hands to the earth around the spine and let the head drop down. Take an inhale, start to unwind. Extend the hands out in front of you unless you have problems with the lower back, in which case support yourself using the hands either side of your body. Tuck your tailbone as you roll yourself onto the ground. Keep pushing the feet to the earth. Bringing yourself down into Supta Baddha Konasana, reclined butterfly pose, taking the arms over the head and catching hold of opposite elbows. So we're now working with the opening of the hips and the chest that we've developed through the practice. Just allow yourself to settle, let the breath soften. feeling the movement of the breath through your body. And then take your hands to the outside edges of the legs. Start to draw the knees together, send the soles of the feet to the ground. Let the knees drop together, widen the feet. And then hug the knees in towards the chest. Let's take hold of the outside edges of the feet for happy baby. And if the hips are too tight, then you can catch hold of the shins instead. Try to work the knees towards the armpits and lengthen the back of the spine against the earth. So you're not lifting your bottom, you're just keeping the back long. And then slowly begin to release the body down onto the ground. Taking any final movements, breaths, or postures that you need. Settle your body to the earth. Just allow yourself to be here for these final moments. Slowly start to bring the awareness back to your body. Feel this breath fill this three-dimensional form which you identify as yourself. Begin to wiggle the fingers and the toes. It feels good, take a stretch, the arms over the head. Gathering your knees at the chest. Maybe take them nice and wide and just feel that space that you've created in your hips. You can either roll onto the side of your body or begin to rock and roll up and down the spine until you land on your sit bones and find your seat. And if you're on the side of your body, gently push your way up to seated. Try to keep the eyes closed if you can. Gather the hands, touch the heart. A moment of gratitude here for creating the space in your day to nurture this practice, to nurture yourself, your body, your breath. And then another moment to honor the efforts of your practice by offering them up towards something beyond this time together here. Take this practice of yoga forwards with you from the mat, off the mat, and into the rest of your day. Namaste.